your computer. And so that's an area where we focus a lot of our energies. We have a lot of people out in the field doing that pretty consistently, where we're out there making sure that your interface into this larger network of the rest of the world is safe, secure, and productive. And that's the most important thing for us. That's really our #1 focus, is trying to make you productive. On that productivity thing, the mobility thing, get your tablet and your phone all interconnected so that your email and your calendar and your contacts are all right where you need them when you need them. So that's a big part of it. But making sure it's all backed up is kind of behind the scenes. That's the business continuity plan. But business continuity means so much more than just backing up. It means having a plan in place for when something happens, when this earthquake that they swear is going to happen happens. What are you going to do in your business if your building gets condemned or something? You can't even get into it. How are you going to keep your data running? How are you going to keep your business? There's a lot of discussion about what happened in New Orleans, and the businesses that were prepared had really excellent business afterwards, after the disaster, after Katrina, because they were prepared. They could do business after that, and then they excelled far and above their competition at that point in time. So just being a little bit prepared will put you in a better place should something go wrong. We're also very involved in the cloud. You've heard me talk about Google Apps before, and I can talk about Google Apps forever. This presentation was done in Google Apps and then downloaded as a PDF. You can do almost anything with that. But we're doing that. We're also more and more involved in the data center co-location. A very good friend of mine owns an ISP that is headquartered in the data center in Orange County in Santa Ana. And it looks like we'll be taking over that responsibility, so we'll be doing a lot more data center work. So you can do what's known as co-location, which would be putting a server.
I wanted to get closer to you.
Oh, okay. Putting a server into, if you want to put a server into the data center where it's secure, it's backed up as well, the power is consistent and taken care of for you. The other side of the thing is the server internally to your network, and that's network design, security monitoring, and maintenance. We make sure that we secure and maintain all of our clients who have servers. We deal with a lot of them, and we do a lot of network design, and we also install and maintain those devices. So the thing that I'm working on that's a little bit new for us is the concept of sustainable computing. And you hear a lot of blabber about it, and it's really the big thing is to minimize the impact of all these devices that are going around, and you've heard about that. So we're trying to extend the life cycles of your IT equipment. I mean, a lot of you guys get tired of replacing out your computer every 2 to 3 years, 4 years. It gets pretty annoying. We're trying to get people to reuse their old equipment. I've just been working with Penny Lambright, many of you know her, with recycling a lot of computers to get them to some veterans who can really use them. So we've been working with businesses. It can be any of your businesses to do this as well. It's a really good program. It's called Patriots and Paws. And then the last kind of item is lowering your energy usage. So the reason is, why is this important? Well, that's kind of why. And if you hear about the stories in Bangladesh and India and Africa, there's all of our e-waste tends to just show up there in a big mountain, and it's pretty disgusting. So we've worked with a lot of recyclers, and we return a lot of these things. So specifically, how are you going to make a difference in this little mess and try to make it so that all of our kids have a little greener future, I guess you could say? A lot of people will keep their computer on 24/7. They're just afraid to shut it down. Like, oh, it's going to blow up if it shuts down. You do the math on it, and it really pulls a lot of power. So I'm encouraging you to shut down, sleep, or hibernate your computer. If you go to a sleep mode, it pulls like 1 watt. So it's like a little mini vampire on your power cycle. If you shut down or hibernate, it basically pulls nothing at that point in time. So make sure you try to do that. Hibernation is a great solution. I use it probably far more frequently than I need to, but it's just easier for me to hibernate than it is to shut down sometimes, because it comes up a little faster for me. Plan to use and keep your computer longer, and that's especially in a business cycle, a lot of people will have automatic 3-year cycles. A lot of big businesses have 3-year cycles. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to think about it as a 5-year cycle. The technology has now gotten to the point where it's mature enough that you don't need to replace it every 3 years. For most of what we do on a daily basis, you can do it on a tablet. So let's face it, you don't necessarily need to keep replacing and have the fastest. You can refresh, maybe put a new solid-state hard drive in or something like that, and your computer will be just like new, maybe faster than it was when you bought it. The purchasing higher quality computers, this makes it so you can your computer will last longer. Now, I know that sometimes, getting the money to buy a computer, it seems like you're spending a lot of money, but going to Best Buy and buying the cheapest one that you have there guarantees that you're getting lower quality components. And those lower quality components will break down faster, it'll go slower, it'll just become more annoying than it's worth the having. So when you're in the market for a new computer, think about it, look about it, and talk to me about it. Usually if you buy a business class computer, even if it's for your home computer, the part cycles, in other words, Dell's a perfect example of this. If you buy their Optiplex, they keep parts in stock for their Optiplex line and their latitude line for, I think, 7 years. They keep it that way. If you buy some of their Inspiron lines or the home ones, the ones you buy at Costco or Best Buy, they don't keep those parts in stock long enough to, like, when something starts failing on them, they just don't care anymore. But on the business class ones, they take care of it. So you can keep that computer longer, which means that whole computer doesn't go down to the landfill. In particular, this part right here, encourage industry leaders to support products longer and plan for longer product cycles. Planned obsolescence is a fact in my industry. It's done in a way that's like masked by security and masked by specifically by, like, oh, it's technology, it's always changing. But once again, the industry's mature enough now that you don't have to have it. Well, Microsoft is typical of this. They force you to buy new computers. Right now, their XP is, and mind you, I'm plenty tired of XP, and on security, there is plenty of security risks with XP. But for many applications, it works just fine. So as long as you've got a hardened firewall, you're in pretty good shape with that one. You're not going to have much problem with it. So why are they pushing it out? Well, they're pushing it out so you'll buy the newest, the greatest, latest. And let's face it, we got kind of tired of that with the automotive industry 20, 30 years ago. That's probably why they're struggling. So I encourage you guys to say, listen, it's going to last longer. It's going to be fine. If you buy quality, it's going to last longer. Printing less. That's something that, of all things, my father needs to learn more than any human being on the planet. He prints everything. So I encourage you guys to look into all sorts of different solutions for that, between PDFs and storing things on a network-attached storage device, or storing things in a place where you'll be able to find them. As long as they're backed up, you'll be able to find them, and usually you'll be able to find them easier than digging around in a file or something like that. There's also a font, I think it's called EcoFont, and it in particular will, it's designed so it'll use less toner or ink. And so if you use that font consistently, you can actually save money on ink and toner. And then the last part of it was recycling with a reputable recycler. Well, many of you know I've worked with Orange Coast Computers and Recycling over there, and I followed their whole track of where it goes. It goes to a recycler in LA, doesn't go to Bangladesh, so I've been working with them for a long time on the recycling side of it. You want to know where it's going when you're recycling it. And a lot of these big fairs that go on all the time, you might want to ask, because the impact, I guess, the environmental impact of the pile that you saw on the previous slide is really pretty nasty. I've watched a few programs on it, and it really affects. There's a lot of lead going in there. There's birth defects in some of those cities and places where the people are living next to this waste. And it's just not, it's not worth it. Take it to a reputable recycler when the thing is finally dead. And that's it. Does anyone got any questions? Yes, Sheila.
Can you tell me what the difference between sleep and hibernate?
Yep, I can. So in sleep, it takes what you're actively working on and puts it into memory, which is the like your quick response kind of thing, like what's just in your head right now. And when you hibernate, it takes that data of everything you're working on and writes it to the hard drive and then turns off all the power. So sleep on the Macintosh, it just puts everything into, and there's not a hibernate mode that at least I'm aware of on the Mac, but specifically it puts all the things that you're working on into memory as opposed to writing it on the hard drive.
No, I can't hibernate.
Last question.
Not yet.
Okay.
Go, Dr. John?
Are there things that you can or do or shouldn't do to kind of maintain the life of the computer and the hard drive?
To extend the life of a computer?
At least maintain it to the expected lifespan.
I don't know. I think that hard drives, you can, there's some drive fitness tools out there that can help, you know, your hard drive work, I guess, a little bit better at the time. But when hard drives fail, it seems to me the most random of things. They can fail right away, or sometimes they last like 10 years. So you never know, and I just don't know the answer to that question for sure. Thank you very much.